Warning: this video may potentially trigger seizures for people with photosensitive epilepsy. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the haunted tales from the old rocking chair. And now your host, Christina Spencer.
Followed Me Home, written by QDude2. I have created a second Reddit account to tell you the story. I do not want a ghost story searchable to my account because most media is now traceable to your username. I can assure you your career is not enhanced by true ghost stories. I've been empathetic my entire life. When I was a toddler, I would see shadow people who came out of the wall. I called them gorillas. But the gorillas never really did anything bad other than scare the crap out of me. Throughout my life, I've continued to have many experiences, and this is the most recent. I was riding my motorcycle on an abandoned road. The road led into a state-owned conservation area. The area was thick with forest and brush. A very steep hill on the other side and a river on the other side, both close by the road surface. I had been there many years before because it was a teenage drinking and smoking party spot with a large cave. The cave had been explosively sealed by the conservation department after a series of violent crimes had occurred there. I have no idea why I wanted to revisit my teenage party spot. I stopped and viewed the expansive, beautiful scenery. I looked up the steep hill, and 100 yards up in the bush I saw what looked like a floating white plastic bag, or perhaps wispy cotton floating down through the trees. I watched it came through the trees slowly, at walking speed. It floated down directly at me. As it got very close, it appeared more like smoke. The smoke moved from eye level to ground level, floated over the top of my shoes, floated slowly up my body, back up to my eye level 6 feet from my face, and then just disappeared. I looked all around me and it was gone. Completely gone. I went home, nothing happened for a few weeks. Then the knocking started. Knocking generally was in the TV room, and my wife and I just chalked it up to some frantic settling of the house. The knocking went on and on. Finally I had enough and started yelling at it to stop, and it mostly did. I was concerned that the smoke had followed me home. I Google searched the area of weird smoke and found this article, which is the same location and time frame I was there. Authorities investigate body found at Sunbridge Hills. This knocking continued but slowed considerably. I suspect it slowed because the ghost now knew it had contacted me and I was aware it was there. The knocking generally followed me from the TV room to a second bedroom I often fell asleep in. I slept in the second bedroom because I like to go to sleep with the streaming computer on, and my wife doesn't like the TV or computer on when she sleeps. In the second bedroom, the low-level activity continued for 2 years. Then it went to a higher level. I heard someone walking into the bedroom, and I would speak to it, convinced it was my wife, but no one was there. One morning I woke, contemplating my coming day, when it spoke directly in my ear. I repeated the vocal sounds over and over and came to the conclusion it was just nonsense gibberish. When it spoke to me, I wasn't always scared. This didn't feel bad. It was very creepy, but I knew it wasn't evil. A few weeks later, I had fallen asleep and felt a tremendous pain in my head. It felt like someone stuck a sword through my head, except the pain started in a small area and expanded like an explosion through my head. It lasted about an instant, and I shook it off and started to go back to sleep. Then the footsteps sounds, and a small toy fell off a dresser. Jesus! Now I was wide awake. I opened the laptop and restarted the show I'd fallen asleep to. In the glow of the computer screen, the spirit started manifesting and became visible. Frick! I didn't sign up for that. I immediately left the room and went to my other bedroom. It didn't follow. I racked my brain. What could it possibly want? So I prayed. Then he came to me. The pain in my head was what he felt when he shot himself. This ghost needed something from me. It wasn't evil, it just needed something. I suspected I now knew. I went in the bedroom. I told him I was sorry how it ended. I prayed to the Lord, Jesus, and St. Michael. I told him he was forgiven by the Lord and by me. He should forgive himself now. I told him that his family awaited him and loved him, even if he didn't think so. I personally felt a great relief. That was 2 weeks ago. There have been no more knocks since, and the story is absolutely true. I've been a trucker for a few months. I've seen some weird things. Written by Blonde Trucker 97. When I first took this job to be an over-the-road trucker, I thought it would be really exciting. I thought I'd get to travel the country and see the sights and come home with stories to tell my friends and family. I was right. This job is exciting. But I soon found that I'm better off not sharing those stories with anyone close to me. Not because I don't trust them, but because I'm worried they wouldn't believe me. Let me back up. My name is Brittany. I'm 22 years old. I've been driving with a rather large company for a few months now, that I won't name due to obvious reasons. Ever since my training ended and I got my own truck to start solo, I've seen some pretty weird shit. When you're driving the loneliest road in America, yeah, that's its real name, in the middle of nowhere, Nevada, things start to get to you. I suppose it was only a matter of time before I saw something out there in the desert at nearly midnight. I still had another hour to the nearest truck stop, and blasting the freezing cold air against my face was all I could do to keep myself from dozing off at the wheel. Irresponsible, I know, but until you work the job, you don't understand how much lax comes with it. I was driving this highway, in the desert, in the pitch blackness of a cold summer night, when suddenly something runs out in the road in front of me. Before I can even react, it's gone across the other side into the bushes. I barely got a good look at it, but I could have sworn it looked like a large, white dog, faster than any dog I've ever seen. I tried to just ignore it and keep driving. I see animals crossing the road at night all the time. It didn't seem like anything to get too worked up about. Not even a minute later, I feel my truck lurch to the left and into the other lane. I quickly try to swerve and correct it, and easily step on the brake so I don't wreck. It can be easy to jackknife an 80,000-pound metal death machine. I slow it down and regain control. I look for the nearest pullover spot so I can see what the hell just hit my rig and see if there's any damage. Once I find a spot and turn off, hit my brakes and hop out. I walk around to the other side and see a large dent in the side of my trailer. What the frick? I say to myself as I walk over to inspect the side of the trailer. It's a huge dent, at least 5 feet wide and tall. No real shape to it, just a general dent. I can't imagine what could have hit me. My first thought was maybe a boulder rolled down from the side of a hill and smashed into me, but I don't think I was driving next to any hills or mountains. As far as I knew, it was just flat desert. I hear the sound of dirt crunching underfoot behind me and I turn around. My breath catches in my throat and my stomach drops. I see something standing not 50 feet away from me. It's large, menacing, and white. I can't even find the words to describe what this thing looked like. It looked like a very large dog, and that's a stretch. It stood on 2 short, stout legs, with long forearms reaching down past its knees. Its shoulders were broad and heaving, as if it just ran a marathon. Its head was mostly shaped like a wolf, with a large snout filled with razor-sharp teeth buried in a snarl. Saliva dripping from its maw. Its jet-black eyes bore right into me, filled with hatred and hunger. I couldn't move. I was frozen in place. This creature stood between me and my only salvation, my truck. We stared at one another for a moment until I broke the silence. "You're one ugly MFer," I said. It snarled at me, then very unexpectedly it turned and walked away slowly, using all 4 of its limbs, receding into the bushes and into the night. I stood there for what felt like several minutes, wondering if it would jump out and feed on my flesh at any moment. It never came back. I ran around the front of my truck and jumped inside, locking the door quickly and flooring it, as fast as you can floor an 18-wheeler, which is not at all. Soon I was back on the highway and barreling down it as if my life depended on it. For a while it felt like it did. Within a half hour, I found myself at the truck stop and shut down for the night. Sleep was difficult that night. I was certain every noise I heard was that damn creature returning. Luckily, the night went on without another incident. I have more stories to tell, but this is getting long, so I think I'll stop here. Remember, guys, be careful out there on the road. You never know what else could be out there with you. I hope you all enjoyed all of our haunted tales this evening. If you would like to discuss any of the stories on tonight's podcast, or just chat live with me, join our Discord server. I'm always live on there during and after the podcast every Sunday night starting at 7 p.m. Join our community on our Facebook group page and YouTube channel. If you have a haunting story of your own or artwork and you want to submit it for consideration for the future show, drop me a line on our Reddit page or email address. All our links are below in the description. Special thanks to Darken Mood, Darken_M00D, for all his wonderful art that you can check out on his Reddit page. I want to thank all our brave storytellers, for without them there would be no show. A detailed list of story credits are in the description. But most importantly, I want to thank you, the listener, for taking time out of your day to listen to Haunted Tales from the Old Rocking Chair. I hope you have a wonderful night, and as always, sweet dreams.